So there we go. We've been given permission to go. So thank you to everyone. I feel as if I'm with friends because I recognise so many faces and names and the vibe, basically. So let me introduce what it is that we are trying to achieve. Now, as Northamptonshire Rights Equality worker, I am also part of Cinema and Arts Group in Wellingborough. We have been funded by Made with Many to create an artwork that will represent a little bit of what Mr. Mark Prescod has given to us all as a community. I don't know, Christine, are you able to add a little bit as another member of the group?
Hi, yes. Really, I think everybody knew Mr. Prescod for all the different things that he was involved with, and especially around Wellingborough and the different roles he took on. And really, we want to create a piece where we can capture all those different elements and all different parts of his personality and his sayings. And I'm sure that everyone's got something to share. So that's the purpose of doing this particular artwork.
Okay. I just want to show you something to give you an idea of what we're trying to achieve. Now, this is a story. I don't know if you can see the image yet, but basically this is an image of me and my wee bairn, my baby. And the idea is that we're going to create something that's very similar to this. It's made up of lots and lots of images. It will clear. Okay, so what I've used is my own artworks, photos of when we've been on holidays, things that we just like. And it scrunches down to a magic image. Now, what we hope to do is a very similar thing with an image of Mark Prescod that will be made up of small, of not just images, but bits of text that we will extract from this evening's meeting, if that's okay. Yeah. Is that a bit clearer for focus to where we're going with our idea? So it's telling a story. It's a bit of Black history for Wellingborough, and it belongs to all of us as communities. Yeah. So are people happy with that? Okay. Apologies thank you from Belinda and Joyce, family of Mike Prescod, who were hoping would say a little bit, in support of the project. I don't know if there's anyone else in the family who would like to say something. Thank you, Raymond. You're on mute, mate.
No, I was just acknowledging you. Hello, everyone. I don't want to say anything. I'm just
anything.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I've just joined. Hi, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So that's all good, Ray. That's all good, Ray. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
So there's quite a few people here that I know have contributed in various forms. We've had some beautiful love sent to us through Facebook messaging, through images sent to us through our emails. We've used resources from REC's Race Out 40 project, the Oral History project that we did a few years ago, where most people who are touched or part of challenging discrimination in this county, most people mentioned Mike as some source of inspiration. And it's good that you're able to come back and you want to add a little bit more, or you want to give us another story. That's all very, very welcome. Now, as there's quite a few people, we've started a little bit late, again, apologies for that. What I will do is go around the room, if you like, and ask if you would like to contribute. And it's been recorded. If you can say as succinctly as you can do, give a little story or a bit of little inspiration, it'll all be welcome. So I think, is Anjana still on the line? She may not be, that's okay. Shasha, you've given us some really delicious contributions. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think everything was in the stuff that I did send. All I can say is Mike was somebody who we could look upon to do things, and not a leader, but he would do everything, and he'll support you. And then some of the things within the community was going on, and Mike was really hot on it. And salute to Mike. This was a fantastic achievement, and there are some memories, which I've already shared.
That's all. I mean, that is brilliant. That is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Shashi. Marcia, I know that you'd given us some stuff through the Race at 40 project. I wondered if you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I mean, Mike was, as Sashi, and still is, a very special person. And our paths crossed many, many times. I was in awe of him. I met him through supplementary schools when he worked with Billy Walker. And what was good about him was he didn't mind working in partnership with people. If there's anything I'd like to say about him, is that he didn't want to lord it over people. He was always there for support. And one of my happiest memories was getting a fellowship from the university. And he found out, because he had links with the University of Northampton, and he gave me a heads up to say, this is going to happen. You have to dress good, make sure you brush your hair and all of that, look, you have to look smart. But don't do the usual speech, Marcia. Try and find something different, because you have to educate these people when you go to those sort of events. And true to his word, he was there. He came, to the ceremony, and I did, instead of doing a speech, I did an Anansi story, which bewildered people. You could see them thinking, "Where's this woman going with this?" And Mike is just sitting there really smug, and I had to take my eyes from him, but those little memories are just divine. And I must say, there's loads at the record office, so I must go up there for Northamptonshire Black History Association.
Yes,
there is a whole raft of stuff there, and I owe it to this project to go up and literally lift out bits and pieces, because he was a phenomenal contributor. In fact, one of the first people in the 80s to be talking about Black history, long before it was actually formally formed.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I was aware. I mean, certainly with the Black History Association, another set of resources, and I think that is like one of the wonders of Mike, if you like, in that he touched so many levels, and that willingness to work with and in partnerships, because no one person can stand alone. They recognise that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Jackie Faulkner Blake, so lovely to see you. Was there anything you wanted to say?
Good evening, everybody, and this is absolutely amazing. I moved to Wellingborough 33 years ago, and it seems like yesterday, but when I moved up here, I was commuting to and from London, and my very first day on the train to London, stood on the platform, and along comes this tiny little man, and the first thing he says to me is, "Good morning, you're new to Wellingborough, my name's Mike, and you need to be involved with whatever the Black community is doing in Wellingborough." And from that day forward, it was just like, that was Mike. He made sure that everybody knew what was going on within the community, but also made you feel really welcome and part of the community, even if you weren't born and brought up in the area.
Lovely story, lovely story. And I know, Jackie, that you have like kind of been influencing your kind of community work now. You know, it's about how we have all kind of grown up together with him in a sort of certain way. Yeah.
Most definitely. If it wasn't for Mike, I don't think that I would actually be doing the job that I'm doing now. It took me a while to get there, but I did that in the end, and was so pleased that he was still around to see what I ended up doing. So miss him every day.
Yeah, and it true that. Yeah. So who should I pick on next? Sylvia Erskine, was there anything you wanted to say? Oh, I'm picking on people. I don't even know if you want to say anything. It's all right if you don't want to. It's okay.
No, I'll say. My husband actually also worked in London Transport, and there was a whole host of them that used to travel down on the train together. I mean, I didn't know my husband knew Mike before I did, and then when I had my children, then I started getting involved with the Saturday school through Jenny Sebastian, and this is when I met Mike through Billy Walker, really, because I knew Billy Walker much more than I knew Mike. But Mike would always come in, pop his head round on Saturday school, see what's going on, and just, have a little chat with me, and would get on. He would never sort of try to sort of come in and take over. He was just there quietly, just looking in the background, see what's going on. And him and Billy Walker worked fantastically as a pair. That's how I remember Mike. That's how I remember him. Yes.
True that. So I think that's really important, that he was observing what was going on. He wasn't going to make the judgment of, you don't want to do it like that, you want to do it like this. He was like seeing, and he was open to that, to new ways of looking at things, I think. And he was looking at you. He was learning from you as well by watching you, wasn't he? So I think it was a mutual, like, kind of learning in a kind of way.
And I have to say, because of, WACA really, and the supplementary school, I mean, I just went in there as a helper, but I was encouraged then to take, my learning further. And I mean, and I went on to become a teacher because of the supplementary school, because of WACA's input, because of Mike's input and Billy Walker. Through them, why I sort of progressed in my career. So I have a lot to thank them for. I really do.
True.
Jenny, I was just going to add that if Sylvia didn't say it, because I'm aware. But what was great at the Saturday school is, as you said, Mike wouldn't interrupt, but it was such fun. He'd come in there and sometime with the kids create mischief, because it was a time in the nicest possible way, and just tell little. But he and Billy really were a phenomenal force. They were, Sylvia agreeing. They were an amazing couple working together. It was a joy, absolute joy.
Okay, sorry, I'm just giving somebody a Zoom link to get in. Okay, thank you. So there's kind of a pattern here. Has anybody got anything bad to say? No, don't.
The bad thing I was going to say is, if he wanted to say, and he was really passionate about something, the blue smoke would come out. I remember that distinctly.
Yeah, true. The man had passion, for real. Okay. Emily, is there anything you wanted to say as part of the family? We can't hear you. I can't hear you. I don't know if anyone else can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, my memories are more to do with family things. So just simple things like seeing granddad on the weekends, or him asking like to make him a cup of coffee, like just simple things like that, more to do than business things. But it's really nice to hear that different people have had different experiences with him and they've been positive, and that regardless of whether you knew him in a business sense or more like a family sense or a friend, you got to see that side of him, that he's very passionate about what he does regardless of that. So I'm really happy to hear everybody's experiences here today. I think it's really nice.
Thank you, Emily. Because that's important to give us that balance of the domestic stuff, that, you know, a family, you know, how he was connected in that life as well.
Yeah.
You know, because we were a different set of family, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we probably saw him more than his blood family in a lot of ways. But hopefully you all understood it was for a reason.
Yeah.
You're not begrudging, you're here, so you can't be begrudging us that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really special. Okay. That's really special.
Okay. Thank you.
So who shall I go to next? So Merle, please.
You picked on me.
Yes, I'm picking on everybody.
No, but thank you for asking me, because I just want to sort of confirm and reiterate what Jackie said about the welcoming nature that he had. Being, oh my God, yes, 20 years. I arrived in Wellingborough 2002, so 20 years. And it keeps hitting me, oh my, that 20 years have gone by. But he was one of the first Black people who actually, unlike Jackie, I don't remember the occasion. I just remember it was some sort of event, and I think it was at Waka. And somebody had invited me, and I thought, I'm not gonna go, I don't know anybody. People are not gonna talk to me. I'm gonna feel, you know, but I thought, no, but Merle, that's the only way you're gonna meet people and get to know people. So I sort of gritted my teeth and went. And I remember trying to shrink into the wall and just, you know, observe and get, you know, see what was going on. And this little man came over and sat down next to me and started talking to me, just very generally. But it was the welcoming nature that he had, and he was able to find out from me very easily, you know, things that I like doing. And then he was like, you need to, he said, so you'll be coming back here all the time then.
And he wasn't asking, was he? He was saying, he was telling.
No, it was not that. It was, so you will be coming back here, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you here and different places. And it stood out with me, and I thought, oh, he's such a lovely gentleman. And then I think, I don't know when it was, I realized I began to hear about this person, you know, this important person, Mike Prescod, and I thought, oh, I would love to meet him. Had no idea I'd already met him. You know, because he just said, I'm Mike. He didn't like.
There's no pretension. There's no pretension.
No. And then afterwards, I was invited to something, I think it's to do with the Black Consortium, was it?
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
And then I realized who he was, and, you know, and the energy that emanated from him. For me, it was this little man with the big energy.
Yeah.
That's how I remember him. And it sort of radiated out of him and ignited something in you to want to be, you know, part of anything that he's being a part of. Yeah. I think I want to be in that, because that man is in it. And that's how he made you feel. You know, he drew you in very easily and very comfortably. And then you realize, oh, this is not, as we would say in the Caribbean, this is not a pian person, you know. This is a man with substance.
Yeah.
And I will always remember him as that, a man with substance, the little man with the big energy.
I like that. That's one of my text boxes. I'm going to enjoy doing that one. Yeah. We've had a nice comment from Savita. She's saying, good to see old friends. I miss Mike every day as I shared that office with him. He was very supportive and always had time to listen to me. That's lovely, Savita. Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to add to it? I can't find you now. Savita's still here. Okay. Right, but we have her contribution, which is nice. And Jackie's agreed, yes. He always had time for people. True that. Yeah. So I know I saw Wendy, please.
Hi, sorry about that. Took a little while to unmute me.
No worries.
Sorry, my voice is not the best. I lost it, but I did want to contribute something because when I returned back to Northamptonshire and took up the post of the director of the Council for Ethnic Minority Communities, Michael came over when I did an event and introduced himself to me, and as so many people have said, he just sort of turns up and just says, "Hi, I'm Mike." Doesn't really tell you anything more, but then he just sat at the back of one of the events, and then when it had finished, he came up and he sort of asked if he could have a chat with me, and I said, "Oh yeah, lovely to," yeah. And he told me, he still only said, "I'm Mike and I'm from WACA." And I thought, okay. But what was really interesting was he wanted to acquaint me with the politics of Northamptonshire. And in particular, I guess really my role that for me, Mike was someone who always wanted to empower you. So I think that was probably one of the reasons why he never introduced himself kind of formally, because he didn't want it to be about him or any of that. And that's one of his legacies, I think, the fact that he was so humble, but yet he enabled you to ask him questions and to pose questions, because obviously in that role my role was partly as a challenge to, you know, some of the statutory organisations, the police, county council, and I did feel whenever he saw me, he was there, just kind of, he'd nod and he'd sort of just, as I say, sit towards the back of things, because I think he knew that he wanted them to listen to different voices. That's what he said, because I think he felt sometimes that they'd stop listening to him, which I thought was frankly rude of them, because, you know, there he was, someone with so much knowledge and experience, and who was passionate about making the best for everyone, you know, and particularly to raise up, you know, the Black community in the county, and for others to see the asset that they had under their nose. But, you know, that was Mike, and very much I still sort of see him as almost like the godfather of Black politics in Northamptonshire, because he had that gentle, and as everyone says, small in stature, but what a powerful man, what a wonderful man.
Beautiful, Wendy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I've just seen Zara sneak into the house. I'll let you settle in for a bit. Margaret, you okay? Hi.
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
You're all right.
I want to get in.
Okay. Was there anything you wanted to say, Margaret? Wanted to add? You gave me a statement already, but
yes. I just go back so far, and when I look at Wellingborough today is what it is because of Mike. Now, unfortunately, with austerity and everything else, we're losing it and it's desperate. But he sort of came to the town, it had nothing, absolutely nothing, apart from what was then the Community Relations Centre. And there was one community organisation, which I think was Don Polski, Polish group. And it was just a dedicated, very dedicated, committed group of people who really were committed to doing something, but didn't have the power and didn't have the money. And then Mike was seconded from social services. Social services actually did a good thing there, the best thing that they ever did. And it just, he had this vision of each community be absolutely developing themselves, not just being developed by the existing community. And he was so inspiring. He believed in what he was doing, and everybody who met him believed in what he was doing, and what they were doing as well to help.
And I think you're absolutely right. It wasn't just about Black individuals and Black communities. What he did, it naturally dominoed into making everybody's quality of life better. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you.
And he actually, I think he inspired everybody, whatever their race.
Sure, and I think it was just even just getting things on people's agendas, even if they didn't like him as a person, because he was always challenging. He wasn't, not everybody on the planet was going to like him, of course not, because he was challenging and he was a threat to what people's norms were. So, but they still respected what he had to say. And I think that is essential, really, to make things move on. Yeah.
And he did so much networking. One of the things that I remember as well then was that he used to say, you can't just knock from the outside, you've got to be on the inside. And that's what he did. He went into politics and became mayor.
Yeah, because I think that's what he shared with you, Shashi, that was saying if we're going to make changes, we have to be in there. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Margaret.
Great.
Who do I need to pick on next? Christopher Frey. Is there anything you wanted to put in?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, what I wanted to say is I know Mr. Prescod from going to school with Raymond. We sometimes used to walk to school, and his dad was always an inspiration because his dad was commuting backward and forward from London and was a social worker, and yet had a family here, and yet was contributing to the community, was quite unique because there was nobody else doing the same thing. And also he was very inspirational because even though he's a small man, he was very kind of a strong man, a very fearless man. And again, that was quite unique because I never saw many men who were like that, who were kind of fearless, but it was strange to see this small man who was fearless, amongst any kind of people. He didn't seem to care, and he just said, I don't give a ras, and and get on and say what he's going to say. And he's always been a kind of inspiration in that way of if you're going to get something done, then just be fearless and just be focused.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say. Everybody misses Mr. Prescod. He was really an inspiration.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Kevin, we had the opportunity of being able to, the legacy still moves on. Support North Lancs opened their new offices at the Vic Centre, of which you are managing now. Was there anything you wanted to contribute tonight?
Well, yes, certainly. I have to say I wasn't lucky enough to know Mike Prescod, but I'm learning about him. And as I learn, I find what an inspiration even his memory is. And the memories that people are relating make me want to learn more about the man. I'm a beneficiary of part of his legacy through Victoria Centre. And having heard what a visionary he was, how much he got done, how influential he was, and something which I really like is I hear how radical he was. And it's a reminder to me to be a bit more radical in what I'm doing, what I'm planning, be a bit more ambitious, and to realise that the only barriers are the ones that we permit to remain. So not having known him, I feel now that I've missed out, but having heard from you, having heard from other people who Mike Prescod was, I feel privileged, if a bit late.
But at least you're here at the party. It's all right. It's absolutely all right. And what the project seeks to do is to, you know, people in a similar position as you, Kevin, to let them know about him and know more about him.
Absolutely, and I really look forward to the time that has to come when Wellingborough Town properly recognises the contribution and the inspiration that he is. I was very happy that we've made a small recognition of him in naming a room for him, but I think Wellingborough Town will be doing more. They have to do more.
Yeah, I mean, we did actually, as one of our the comments contributed was from Liz Coombs, who is a local politician, but she was hoping with the Prescod Close, will someone officially, formally just get this down and dusted? I don't know if anyone knows what the progress on that at all is, but this is saying the man needs to be recognised for real, you know? So hopefully this can encourage our local just people who can make this happen, because I've never known it in my whole life that this has been a complete stop for so many years. It's ridiculous, makes no sense whatsoever. But we haven't got a road yet, but we have got other small special parts of Wellingborough named after him, haven't we, Kevin?
We have, and it's going to happen. Wellingborough will recognise him formally and properly.
Yeah, I believe Wacker has a room named after him as well. Am I right with that, Sylvia? Yeah, there is as well there. Yeah, okay, thank you. Zara, I wonder if you wanted to say something.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Lovely to see some familiar faces. I was just trying to work out how old I was when I used to work with Mike at Wacker. It could have been 14, 15, 16, 17, somewhere around that age. But he always used to get me to type up his notes for him. You know, he had that notebook and he'd scribble everything down in it and he'd say, young'un, type that up for me. And I used to look at his handwriting and think, God help me. I hope I'm typing up exactly what he wanted to say. But for me, you know, coming from a sort of different background growing up, Wacker adopted me, you know, and Mike was really at the forefront of encouraging me to you know, follow my dreams and do everything that I've now gone on to achieve. So he's someone that we hold so close to our heart, and I don't think that there hasn't been anyone else that's walked into that centre quite like him. He was just one of a kind, and it is just such a shame that, you know, for generations to come after me, they've not had what we had, you know, that real community sense. So thank you so much for keeping this event, and it's a pleasure to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, this will, we hope, trigger other things that will commemorate the legacy of Mike, and you know, we have benefited, we have all benefited across all communities. Wendy's saying in the chat it would be lovely to have a statue of Mike. Yeah. So many people have mentioned about his small stature. A little action man, maybe. Small but generous with his wisdom and knowledge. Yes, very sharing with what he had to give. He would not sit on it, would he? Everybody benefited from that. Thank you. I'm gonna go to Hilary Haynes. Would you like to say something? Absolutely okay if you don't feel able to or don't want to.
No, I don't know the guy. I've been in Northampton 30 odd years. obviously didn't know anything much about what was going on in Wellingborough, but I'm finding what everyone's saying is quite inspiring, and it's nice to be here. Thank you.
All right, that's great, Hilary. Nice to see you. So have I missed anyone?
Hi, Jenny. Can I just say something?
Yeah, if you have to.
Okay, thank
Sorry,
you.
Christine. Yeah, go on.
No worries, no worries. Just something, listening to what everybody has said, it just kind of got me to start thinking about how early in my life that Mike was actually, he's touched so many people within our family. So like he knew my dad, and when they first was at Harriet's Lane and started the whole thing about, you know, the West Indian cricket and all that sort of thing. And then later on, knowing him through my ex-husband, and then for myself, and then my daughter as well. So it's just that he touched everybody's life in all the different generations. And it's just great that he had the ability to be able to do that, to talk to anyone and kind of get them on side. And it's just, yeah, it's just wonderful to hear the different comments from people.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of, so we've had this idea of a statue as a tribute to Mike. I wonder if there are any other ideas how we can, there's the road that is ready to go, but it's kind of not happening yet. But I wonder if there's something that we can be responsible for, you know, as Wellingborough people, as Northamptonshire people, that will contribute to the legacy that we want more see.
I really think we should be looking for a blue plaque. We must be looking, and if you don't mind and you want me to run with it, somebody from Wellingborough run with it. I'm in a privileged position to actually push that. But I really do think a blue plaque, because I don't know, Raymond, how long they've been living in that house, or Wacker, you know, it can be his home. That becomes the history. As somebody just mentioned, Harriet Street, I just remembered. Oh my goodness, I'd completely forgotten about that. I think I saw Margaret nodding her head. Yes. You know, it's Christine that mentioned it. And it's where you would want that blue plaque to go. But what you don't want is to put it somewhere that you think potentially is going to get knocked down. So that's why it often ends up in a home. But Midland Road, he's lived there, can live there a long time.
Yeah.
Is it Raymond? Yeah. So it becomes an historical destiny. Yes. You know, because that is for Emily, it is the home, you know, that you know of, but it's also, Shashi, the place that you might have had meetings. Yes. The quick gathering, and this poor Joyce having to make quick something to eat and all of those things. So for me, the house, but I think a blue plaque, he deserves a blue plaque.
Okay, that is a really interesting idea. Again, that may be something that we need to take up with, is it the local authority? We can talk about that. Yeah, okay.
Just contact the Lord Lieutenant.
Yeah, sorry.
The Lord Lieutenant and just do it that way, and then one of us will run with it.
Okay, yeah. Wendy, can I bring you in?
I was just sort of concurring with Morsey. I think, you know, the least he should have is a blue plaque. But I do think, given, you know, all that's gone on with Black Lives Matters and the challenges about statues and the right statues to represent history, it would be a fitting tribute to actually have one of a real powerhouse in Northamptonshire, of a Black man who really did make a difference. So, you know, I certainly would contribute and help with fundraising if we were looking at a plaque. And you said about, and Morsi is right, the challenge with any plaque or anything like that is to make sure that it's in a place that won't be knocked down or changed or anything like that. And that's why sometimes, you know, that's why there have always been these statues erected, because it is much harder, although you can if you really need to get rid of them. But I certainly think that no one would want to get rid of, and perhaps, as you've mentioned, Mike's stomping ground around Wellingborough, if I was in that main in the main area, there was a plaque of Mike. And it would also help people of all nationalities to understand what he meant, particularly to Wellingborough, but also the role he took very seriously as a councillor at county level and beyond the boundaries of Northamptonshire.
Okay, I think that's a really good idea. I think as long as we keep people talking about Mike Prescod, then his spirit is kept alive. Do you know what I mean? Because he put up so many challenges, and certainly he influenced so many, so many of us are all in the room at the moment, at, different levels of our life, at different times, and for different issues, because the man knew so much about a whole plethora of things, but he was also good at listening as well, which I think was really important. Yeah. So how's everyone feeling?
He did a lot in Wellingborough, but he also supported groups in Northampton.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he journeyed into Northampton, and I know when people thinking of becoming councillors, he was one of the, from the minority communities, he was one of the people. So it is with great respect, I think of, what's his name? There are people who sort of hovered between the two areas. So, but yeah, he definitely, not in the same vein, but he was definitely very known in Northampton.
Okay. So I've kind of give you a bit of an indication of what we're trying to achieve with the photo mosaic. I wonder if there's anything else. So we have little statements, little text boxes, we have imagery, we have quotes from yourselves. I'm going to, is everybody okay if I use a piece of what you've said tonight? I just need permissions if that's okay. Thank you, that's cool. Anything else that folk think we should be adding into this as part of Mike's story? Ray?
Can you hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. My dad was very conscious when he was doing it that he was actually kind of setting a legacy. And he was very into his ancestry, and people that had come before him and had kind of set that marker before. And he was a soldier for a long time. And so the way you talk about the way he attacked life, he attacked it like a soldier. That never left him. Everything was a military operation. It didn't matter what it was. And from the time to the letter, he followed that strict path and didn't deviate. And he was also, a few things he told me, because we used to argue about all kinds of different things, me and my dad. And one of the things he was very sure about to me was, I didn't have to be twice as good as anybody else. I just had to be just as good. And as long as I was just as good, I must demand what I want, and I must go and get it. And he was very adamant about that, about equality. And so the way you say that things are disappearing and the community spirit is going, I'd say that the way we are a lot more cohesive now is a testament to what he did, how it worked. He wasn't about self-exclusion. He was about inclusion. And he was very, very sure about that. We had to go down the route we went down because it was very clear that we were a disadvantaged group. But the whole idea is so that we are unseen. We don't want to be seen and stand out. We want to be unseen, which means we want to be like everybody else. And that is what he was trying to achieve. And one of his biggest achievements, what he's very proud of, was Party in the Park. He'd always go to Party in the Park, he'd see everybody together, and that would give him such a buzz.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of things I remember about my world.
Yeah. That's brilliant, Ray. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure, Jenny, that there'll be lots that we think of when this is all over. Can we contact you when we do think of things?
Yes, quickly. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We are still working on creating.
Herriot's Lane, Marcia mentioned Herriot's Lane, and I thought of that over the last few weeks, and then it sort of disappeared from mine. But yeah, that was the first of Wacker, and he wanted a library in somewhere that all there. And the other big thing I do, it was the Black Consortium.
Yes, truly, that brought all the
all the,
Black and Asian communities together, didn't it?
yeah. Yeah, he was. And so encouraging.
So I think you're right. So Wendy's asking, what about mosaic wall art on the side of a large building in the style of political and social heroes seen around the world, from Northern Ireland, Cuba, etc. We have some visual artists of note, Carmen Allen, Anne Blackstone, Mel and Morcia. Yeah, I think that sounds like a fantastic idea. But it is about prominence, you know, because we could have things that are in, you know, no disrespect to the Vic Centre, you know, there is a room there, but you have to be in it to see it. Whereas where we're hoping that we have the Cinnamon final artwork is going to be in the Wellingborough Museum. That's where we're aiming to go, because it is a place that is transitory. People are coming in and out. We also want people to go in the museum, to purposely go and see it, introduce Black communities to the museum. That's part of our mission. But I do like that idea of having that, you know, as I say, I describe it as prominence. That's brilliant.
It's interesting, having heard that somebody like Alan Howard, I don't know if Alan is away or still here, but Alan did a subway many, many, many years ago in Reading, and it is still there. They had an anniversary, I don't know, 30 years or some period, but it's putting things into period of time that still means that in 20 years' time, a group of young people come and say, let's freshen it up, and it keeps the memory going. Yeah. It is quite interesting. It's that memory, isn't it, that you want to
yes, definitely
keep fresh. And of course, Alan was another person that he worked with a lot, the White House and places like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Gosh.
Thank you, Ray. Right. So I just need to copy these little statements in the chat before I lose them. So, so Kevin, you've asked putting out an appeal for photos, and yes, we've been doing that for the last month now, and I think I have to put an end to the end date actually was the end of February. This is a little bit extra as the REC contribution, but we have a good set of images already to play with. Mel said an educational pack to be incorporated into school curriculum. That would be really special. Yeah. Yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent. So we have lots and lots of ideas, and we could keep people busy for the next 100 years probably, because these are no quick fixes, are they? They are. But I think it's about, I mean, I've known Mike all my adult life, and you know, I never fail to keep learning. And I think that's the whole thing, that we never really know anyone, do we? But we kind of keep getting there are some people that just keep your fire lit. Do you know what I mean? So, thanks for that, Ray. Some information about forefathers. Okay. Sorry, people. I just need to capture these before I get lost.
I just think it's wonderful that people are coming up with such good ideas, and it's something that we can put aside and work in partnership with others as well in order to kind of take these forward.
Yeah.
So Jenny, good on you for capturing the messages. You'll have to tell me how to do that later.
Cut and paste, mate, before all else fails. Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Great to see you. So, is there anything else? If there are, because we're working on the final piece of artwork now. The extracts that you can. I think I've taken what I wanted, Kevin. Now you tell me. Yeah, so if there are things that are part of, I'm thinking actually, you need to take photos of Harriet's Lane. You know, places that, if people got photos of Party in the Parks, Roots Festival, events and activity carnival that Mike has like kind of been part of, please get them to us as soon as you can, and I mean really soon. It'd be very much appreciated. I'm working towards getting the final piece of artwork will be, we're hoping, will be 4 by 4 feet. It's going to be a photo mosaic that I'm hoping we made up of about 1,000 images, and that will include lots of text boxes and lots of bits of images as well that are going to be triggering. And I hope people will be able to use, you know, and acknowledge that it's part of their history as well. So yes, if you can get them to the REC, that will be fine. And to me at the REC, I'll put me.
Jenny, I'll also mention that they can send it to the Cinnamon Arts Group at gmail.com.
Yeah, can you put that in the chat for me, please? Is that possible? Okay. I both like how people have felt inspired to do big things. And I'm quite proud that we triggered that. Any last thoughts?
Somehow we've got to build on what Mike started, whatever the situation is.
Sure.
We can't let it slip. That's it, really. You know.
I think that says a lot, though, Margaret. Yeah. You know, we can't let all that hard work just gone, done. I mean, the fact is, there were so many things that were influenced by him that it's kind of just got taken for granted. It's just got wrapped in, and people don't. It's not just Mike, obviously. There are lots of things that we take for granted in the community that individuals have made happen, and they've kind of, their names have got lost in, you know, in what we've taken for granted as services and places.
Yeah. And or other people have claimed it, Jenny.
Well.
Sorry, Marcia.
I said, or other people have claimed it. They've claimed it because there's nobody claiming it, and you suddenly find other people claiming it, and you're thinking, no, that is not the way it was.
Yeah, and we have to be there to challenge that, don't we?
Yep.
Okay. So, thank you, my lovelies. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
As I say, if you can get us any more imagery, or you have a thought that you thought, I wished I'd said that, please try and get them to us by, let me put a deadline on this. I'm going to say Monday, so it will give you a weekend to have a scrabble about for things. So by Monday, the 21st of March, and that really will have to be the last deadline. Yeah? Okay, folks. Thank you all. I haven't forgotten anyone, have I? I'm just trying to see. If I have, I do apologise. I think I caught everybody. Yeah. So take care and look out for our artwork. We're hoping it will take a couple of months, but we will let you all know what's happening, where it will be. And we want to really be taking your ideas forward. Mel, I hope you're listening, because I think we've had some fantastic ideas, and this is where we collaborate well with Made with Many. That we like when people come with the ideas, and we will try and make it happen as much as we can. Yes, thank you, Mel. Yeah. Okay, so take care, everyone, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
How do I do this picture? There we go. What's happening? What's going on? Can everybody hear me or not? No.
Yes, we can. Stop swearing.
No.
Right. You know how to log off?
Wasn't swearing.
In your bottom right-hand corner, you should have a
Leave.
If you hover with your cursor, you'll have an end. You have an icon that reads end. I'm going to switch you all off anyway. That's the easiest thing, eh? All right, thanks, Margaret. I'll see you soon.